People always think they know what's going on in a relationship just by looking at it from the outside. They see a couple that's struggling and immediately assume it's someone's fault. Well, they don't know crap. My name is Brianna. I'm 26. And this is what really happened between me and Mark. We'd been together for 3 years when we decided to move in together. I thought it was the next logical step. Mark was so excited. You would have thought he won the lottery. The first 6 months were actually pretty great. We had this routine that worked. Lots of intimacy, went on dates. We even had those stupid moments where we'd laugh while brushing our teeth together like one of those annoying couples on YouTube. But somewhere between splitting the rent and me starting my new job with the most irritating coworkers on the planet, everything changed. Mark started getting on my nerves constantly. The way he chewed his food, how he left dishes in the sink, the tone of voice he used when he was just asking a question. Don't even get me started on the air fryer situation. I specifically told him it goes in my cabinet because I use it more, but he kept putting it in his. I wasn't in a good mood anymore. I'll admit that. But who would be with a job like mine? Mark would come home and immediately I'd be waiting for him to mess something up so I could point it out. I stopped looking forward to seeing him. He started taking the long way home from work just to put off coming home to me. I'd see him sitting in the car scrolling through his phone like he was preparing for battle. When he finally came inside, the vibe was always hostile. No kiss, hello? No, how was your day? Just passive-aggressive questions like, did you remember to take the bin out? With that fake, curious tone that drives me insane. Mark kept trying, though. He planned this sushi date for us. I spent the whole time scrolling on my phone and complaining about my job. He ordered my favorite roll. And I told him, I actually don't like that anymore. Which was true, I didn't. But the look on his face was like I'd kicked his puppy. He still did things around the house. Laundry, groceries, cooking, when I was tired. His efforts got about as much attention as a terms and conditions page. I know he started to feel like he was in a relationship with a robot that occasionally criticized his posture. Resentment built up on both sides. He felt like he was trying to do CPR on a dead body. Mark always felt like I was out of his league. Which is true. He was doing everything to keep our relationship alive, while I was just going through the motions. I knew he wanted kids soon, and I think that's what was stopping him from leaving the idea of starting over with someone new at his age. Then out of nowhere, Mark started listening to this relationship podcast. I was expecting the usual if he wanted to. He would garbage that women eat up. But this one was different. Actual adult advice. Female hosts. But they were married and not bitter. One of them said something like, keep his stomach full and his balls empty. Mark laughed when he told me about it. Thought it was just a meme. It wasn't, he said. The first week, he started initiating intimacy again, with actual effort. My mind was blown. Before this, it was like trying to hook up with a power-saving mode version of him. Now he was making eye contact, asking what I liked, trying new things. He legitimately watched tutorials. I'm not even joking. I saw him with AirPods in while folding laundry. Turns out he was learning how to be better in bed. Suddenly, he was more confident. Like a stat boost got applied overnight. He started bragging that he was going to drain the stress out of me. He learned how to give good head. Previously, I never finished with him. He learned to use 2 hands and his mouth at the same time instead of me, mentally checking out to try to finish. I was actually trying to make it last longer. Then he started cooking. Not just eggs and toast, but real meals. He made this one chicken pasta thing that legitimately made me close my eyes, mid-chew. He asked me what I wanted the next night. He started sending me recipes during the day. He was plating the food like he was in a cooking competition. He even started packing me lunch. He put notes in them like, you're appreciated and don't forget to drink water. That feeling when someone actually gives a crap about your well-being, I started realizing I was less angry, less anxious. Even our arguments changed. Instead of sniping and walking off, he was way calmer. He could usually talk his way out of it. Him being level-headed helped me calm down too. One night, I came home from a brutal shift at work. He had candles lit, food on the stove. He said, you had a rough day. Let me take care of you tonight. No one's ever said that to me. Not like that. I used to feel like he was sprinting to keep us alive while I sat in a lawn chair watching him drown. Now it was like he jumped in too. We were paddling together. We still had bad days. Still had tension sometimes. But now we actually worked through it. I used to think I was going to have to leave the love of my life. Now I felt like he came back to life. Honestly, food and affection. It sounds simple, but it was a defibrillator our relationship needed. Sometimes I'd stare at him while he was cooking and think this could have ended. I almost let this happen. But then I started noticing things. Little things at first. Mark would get these texts and quickly put his phone away. He started taking calls in the other room. He was suddenly very interested in his appearance, buying new clothes, working out more. I should have been happy that he was taking better care of himself. But instead, I felt this pit in my stomach. Something was off. One night, he left his phone unlocked on the counter while he was in the shower. I know I shouldn't have looked, but I couldn't help myself. And there it was. Messages between him and some girl named Jessica. Not just friendly messages, flirty ones. Plans to meet up, talk about how much they missed each other. They'd been talking for months, since before he started his relationship podcast phase. This whole time, I thought he was trying to save our relationship, but really he was just getting his confidence back so he could leave me for someone else. When he got out of the shower, I confronted him. He tried to deny it at first, but when I showed him the messages, he crumbled. "It's not what you think," he said. "Jessica and I are just friends. We used to date a long time ago, and we ran into each other a few months ago. Friends don't talk about how much they miss each other or make plans to meet up in secret." I shot back. He sighed. "I was lonely. Brianna, you were so distant, so cold. I felt like I was losing you. Jessica was there. She listened. So this is my fault?" I asked. "You cheating on me is my fault." "I didn't cheat," he said. "We never did anything. We just talked." "Emotional cheating is still cheating," I said. "You were planning to meet up. What was going to happen then?" "I don't know," he admitted. "I was confused. I still loved you, but I felt like you didn't love me anymore." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. He was trying to turn this around on me. Like his betrayal was somehow my fault because I wasn't attentive enough. "I think you should leave," I said. "Brianna, please," he begged. "We can work this out. I'll stop talking to Jessica. I'll do whatever it takes." "It's too late," I said. "The trust is gone." He packed a bag and left that night. I sat on the couch for hours, just staring at the wall. How could he do this to me? After everything I'd been through with my job, all the stress I was under, he decides to start talking to his ex behind my back. The next few weeks were a blur. I cried constantly. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. My friends tried to be supportive, but they didn't understand. They kept saying things like, "You're better off without him and you'll find someone else." But I didn't want someone else. I wanted Mark. I reached out to him a few times, but he was cold, distant. He said he needed space. I later found out from a mutual friend that he was already seeing Jessica. Officially this time. They made it Facebook official and everything. I was devastated. All those months he was pretending to work on our relationship. He was really just grooming his replacement. The cooking, the lunches, the notes. It was all just practice for his new relationship. I tried to move on. I went on dates. I even met a nice guy named Brian who treated me well. But I couldn't stop thinking about Mark. I'd compare everything Brian did to what Mark used to do. Brian was great, but he wasn't Mark. Meanwhile, Mark and Jessica were living their best life, posting pictures on social media, going on trips, looking so happy. It made me sick. How could he move on so easily? Did our 3 years together mean nothing to him? I started drinking more than I should. I'd go out with friends and get wasted, hoping to forget about him. But it never worked. I'd just end up crying in the bathroom or texting him things I'd regret in the morning. My work suffered. I got written up for being late multiple times. I almost lost my job. My friends stopped inviting me out because I was such a downer. I was pushing everyone away, just like I pushed Mark away. One night, I was at a bar by myself, drowning my sorrows. When I saw Mark and Jessica walk in, they looked so happy, so in love. Jessica was laughing at something Mark said, And he had that look in his eye, the one he used to have for me. I couldn't take it. I walked over to them. Really, Mark, you had to bring her here. To our place. Our place, he said, looking confused. Brianna, this is just a bar. We've been here plenty of times together. Not with her, I said, pointing at Jessica. Jessica looked uncomfortable. Maybe we should go, she said to Mark. No, Mark said. We have as much right to be here as anyone. I lost it. I started yelling, calling him names, telling Jessica what a liar and a cheater he was. The bartender asked me to leave. I refused. Security had to escort me out. I was humiliated. I sat in my car, crying, until I saw them leave. Mark looked over at me as they drove away. I couldn't read his expression. The next day, I woke up with a pounding headache and a deep sense of shame. What had I done? I'd made a complete fool of myself. And for what? Mark wasn't coming back. He was with Jessica now. I decided then and there that I was done. Done with Mark, done with crying, done with feeling sorry for myself. I was going to focus on me, on my career, on my health, on my happiness. I quit drinking. I started going to the gym. I threw myself into my work. I got a promotion. I started making new friends. I even started dating again, this time with no expectations. And you know what? It worked. I was happy, genuinely happy, for the first time in a long time. I was content with my life. Then Mark called me. Out of the blue. He said he wanted to talk. I was hesitant, but I agreed to meet him for coffee. He looked terrible. He'd lost weight, had dark circles under his eyes. He told me that Jessica had left him. She'd gone back to her ex. He was alone, miserable. He said he made a huge mistake, that he never should have let me go, that he still loved me. Part of me wanted to take him back, to fall into his arms and pretend like nothing had happened. But the bigger part of me, the stronger part, knew better. I'm sorry, Mark, I said, but I've moved on. I'm happy now. He looked shocked. But we were so good together. We can be good again. We were good once, I said. But you broke that? You broke my trust. I can't forget that. He started crying, begging me to give him another chance. It was pathetic. I have to go, I said, standing up. Don't leave, he pleaded. Please, Brianna, I need you. I looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing. No love, no anger, no sadness, just nothing. Goodbye, Mark, I said, and I walked away. I never heard from him again. Last I heard, he moved to Chicago, started a new life. Good for him. As for me, I'm still here, still happy, still moving forward. I'm dating a great guy named Chris. He treats me well. We take things slow, no rushing into living together or making big plans. We just enjoy each other's company. Sometimes I think about Mark, about what we had, what we lost. But I don't regret how things turned out. I learned a lot from that relationship, about myself, about what I want, about what I deserve. People always think they know what's going on in a relationship just by looking at it from the outside. They see a couple that's struggling and immediately assume it's someone's fault. Well, they don't know crap. Relationships are complicated. People are complicated. Sometimes things just don't work out, no matter how much you want them to. Am I bitter about what happened with Mark? Maybe a little. Do I wish things had turned out differently? Sometimes. But am I going to let it define me? No way. I'm Brianna. I'm 26. And this is my life. And it's pretty damn good, if I do say so myself.